Hey guys, what's up? Geekman, the cinema reviewer here, and today we are going to review Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Now, what goes on in The New Blood is it begins with this little girl who, because of all the stress and emotions and her abusive dad, she finally discovers that she actually has these mental powers to control things. And so, in the beginning, we have her dad, being really abusive to her mother, and she takes off out of the house and she gets on the boat on Crystal Lake, by the way. And along the way, her dad says, "No, honey, come back." And then she's like, "I wish you were dead. I wish you were dead." And she kills his ass. And so, after killing her dad, she really feels guilty, and as a result, she's sent to this mental hospital. And so, years later, we find that before her release from the mental hospital to go back to Crystal Lake to combat her guilt over killing her dad, she has her doctor, and we actually figure out that her doctor really doesn't seem to care about her, but cares more about her performance of controlling things with her mind. He really kind of just wants to test her and see what she can do with her mind, and evidently he figures it out by seeing how she moved a match across the table and actually burned it on fire. And so, having discovered that, she is sent to. She goes back to Crystal Lake to combat her her guilt of killing her dad. And of course, when she comes back to Crystal Lake, there's this party going on, and you know what happens to the kids during the party? They drink, they do drugs, they have sex, and they fucking die. Just that's part of the series, guys. Part of the series, you gotta keep it alive, you gotta keep the formula alive. Anywho, what's really interesting though is towards the end, instead of her combating her guilt over killing her dad, she confronts Jason. And this is why I actually really kind of like this movie, because it's just really cool how she fights Jason. My favorite part during the fight between her and Jason is I really do love the part how she used the wire on the pole and she put it in the water to electrocute Jason. That was pretty cool, and how she lit his ass on fire at the end and the house blew up. So that was pretty cool. And what's really interesting about the end is you would think that, oh, Tina, she's probably going to kill Jason. And yeah, she does indirectly. But actually, what really ends up happening is it's actually her dad that kills Jason. What really happens is, she summons her dad from the water. It's funny because he's so well preserved, after being in the water for so long. And she summons her dad up from the water, and he fucking kills Jason. And that's how Jason dies in this movie. Well, until the next one. Evidently find out that, well, he comes back to life in the next one. But anyway, let's go back to Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. That's what happens. She summons her dad from the water, and he kills Jason, and then there you have it. That's the end of The New Blood. Now, what do I think of The New Blood? I do like this movie. Okay? I do like Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Why? Well, because it's watchable and it's rewatchable. I like the fact that they did something new with the series. How they had a girl with mental powers to fight Jason, and they did a good job at it. So I liked how they did something different, and what they did different this time is something I liked, because when they did go experimental, because they go experimental with this series a lot. They went experimental with the fifth one and not being Jason, just some other guy. New Blood, mental powers, the girl with mental powers. 8, I guess, him going to Manhattan, which we find out most of the movie he's not even in Manhattan. Okay, he's on a cruise. 9, he dies and his powers go to other people and they kill other people. And 10, it's way in the future. There's only 2 I really like. I don't know if I really like the 5th one, but I give it a pass. It being a other person than Jason, so I give the 5th one at least a pass on that experiment. As for this experiment for the New Blood, it's my favorite experiment. It was just interesting having a girl with mental powers and fight Jason. What would I rate this movie? I would give this 2 out of 5. And yeah, that's a little lower, but here's the reason being. Despite the fact that it's just such a good fight between Tina and Jason and the way they fight, And despite the fact that Kevin Hutter played Jason, which I think is totally the best Jason, why don't you put him in Freddy vs. Jason? You guys should have thought that out. It would have made the movie even better than how good it actually was. Ah, damn it. Sorry, camera. Okay. Alright, back. Yeah, I can only give it a 2 out of 5 because despite the fact that it's such a good fight scene between Tina and Jason, and Kevin Hutter does a great job playing Jason, I can only give it a 2 out of 5 because despite those parts, I'm just really not into the movie. The characters, they're just so uninteresting, and they did such a shitty job at playing their roles, and it's so uninteresting that I just like to skip the parts when it involves the other characters in the movie, and I just go right to the part where Jason and Tina face off. Really, that's the only parts I can really watch. The rest, I don't care. You know, it's just the acting was just so poor. It just made me just not care at all for all these other characters. I mean, even Tina herself, she wasn't the best actress for her role. You know, if you saw The New Blood and you saw how she reacted to her mother dying, I mean, just the way she reacted to her mother's death, it's awful. But the only good actor I could say in this, the only great actor I could say in this movie is Kevin Hutter. Kevin Hutter, I give you an A+. You did a great job as Jason. I really wish you were in Freddy vs. Jason, but unfortunately not. And unfortunately, you're in the weakest ones of the series, 7 through 10. You know, I consider those the weakest in the series. Now, even though I find this weaker than the Friday the 13th before this, I still do definitely find it stronger than the ones after this. And as a matter of fact, I find this to be the last watchable Friday the 13th. The last watchable, because after this, when you have 8, 9, and 10, I just don't care for them at all. You know, in 8, for one thing, they lie. Or they more mislead people. You know, when you watch the trailer, you think Jason is going to be in Manhattan the whole movie, but it turns out he's not. He's actually on a little cruise going on. And even when you're watching him on the cruise, there's just a lot of ridiculous parts, like when the girl, when she walks from one side of the room, she goes to the other side, and Jason's here, and she just goes a few here, a couple seconds later, and he's there. I mean, it's just, come on, he's not that quick, okay? If you want to do that, I'm totally cool with that. You should extend in that scene. I also don't like the part how he chopped that punched the black guy's head off the roof and ended up in the garbage can. It's just, it was a little too cheesy, and I don't like the 9th one because I just don't buy him dying and his powers going to other people and they kill other people, and I just don't buy that. And another thing is 9 is just too gross. I mean, just the process of just what happens in the 9th one, a lot of stuff, it's too gross for me. Ugh, it's too gross. It's stupid. I just don't like it. I didn't like the route they took on that one. I really don't. I don't care for it. And as for the 10th one, you know, I'm just not big of a sci-fi fan, okay? That could be my problem. You know, maybe the movie is good, I'm just not the big of a sci-fi fan, but maybe you are, and maybe you disagree, and I'm totally cool with that. So guys, that's it for my review on Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Please tell me in the comments, what is your input on Friday the 13th, Part 7? What do you think of it? And what is your favorite Friday the 13th? Alright? And by the way, in the comments, I would really appreciate it if you guys would tell me which franchise I should do. I will be taking a vote, and I'll be counting up on which one I should do. So which one should I do? The Halloween franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, or Friday the 13th franchise? Which one? Please take a vote. Alright. Well, that's it for my review, guys, and that's it. Post in the comments what you think of this movie, and stay nerdy. Catch you on the next review.